going to ask you to review an article. But before then, there's an epigraph you have from that work. I want someone to read it for me. Read the epigraph here. Someone should read it.
No country is going to create wealth if its leaders exploit the economy to enrich themselves, or police can be brought off by drug traffickers. No business wants to invest in a place where the government sinks 20% of the top, or the head of the port authority is corrupt. Obama, quoted in Yeboah-Assiamah 2017.
All right. What does it mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, bro. It means that in a country or in a place where the environment or the economy is corrupt, no one would want to invest in that economy, because they know that even if they invest in it, one way or the other, someone will use its power or authority to create a distrust or dishonest within that environment.
Okay, so what it is saying is that, Jessica, thank you very much. What it is saying is that corruption is something that does not augur well for national development. That no country is going to create wealth if the leaders are corrupt, if they exploit the economy to enrich themselves, then the country is not going to create wealth. If people can just buy the police, if people engage in drug trafficking, businesses can just buy the police, then clearly no investor will feel safer to bring their investment here. This is what Obama said when he visited Ghana around 2009, when he was addressing the Parliament of Ghana. Okay, and this is very deep. So in simple terms, it says that if you want to develop, you need to address corruption, because if the leaders are corrupt, it will be difficult to get or to seek development. Do you agree? Do you agree to that, Jessica?
Yes, Prof. I agree 100%.
Okay. Who has a contrary view? All right. So today we will look at nature of public sector corruption. You understand it very well. Nature of public sector corruption. Then you get to know how we measure corruption. Then Ghana's efforts at addressing corruption. State of corruption in Ghana, which of course we'll use the corruption perception framework or corruption perception index, the CPI. And then I'll introduce you to a framework I have developed since 2017. It is called the Corruption Control Tripod. If we want to address corruption, we want to fight or control corruption, the Corruption Control Tripod is crucial in that regard. Okay, all right, great. Now, the World Bank defines corruption as the abuse of public office for private gain. Abuse of public office for private gain. Now, this definition is similar to one by the Transparency International, which views corruption as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. So both the World Bank and Transparency International, they are saying almost the same thing: abuse of public office for private gain. Use of public office, as the Transparency International says, abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Now, according to Enye, any behavior that deviates from the formal duties of a public role, so if you deviate from your public role because of some private gains, then that is corruption. When you deviate from the public goal or role because of some personal considerations or gains, that's corruption. In 2014, Yeboah-Assiamah, yours truly, and my colleague researchers, we also defined corruption in 2014 as a well-calculated, and you see, corruption is not accidental. Jessica, is it accidental?
No, sir.
No, it's a well-calculated,
Very intentional.
well-calculated transactional process. So the parties involved, they calculate. Each one will weigh the other before that transaction would occur. It's a well-calculated transactional process involving the exploitation of public authority for personal or sectional advancement. So it could be to benefit the officer in question or his group, if he belongs to a group, at the expense of the larger society. And we continue. The beneficiaries of corruption may be individuals or groups. Corruption may boost a person's or a group's economic position or non-economic status. That is the definition that we provided, okay? Corruption may boost a person's economic position or non-economic status. So when people engage in corruption, they may get money in return, okay, or something that is not money. It could be anything. That's why sometimes people say cash or kind. The kind is loaded. It can be anything, including goods. Including goods. Or even feelings, okay? Feelings. You see, when Anas, do you know Anas?
Yes, bro.
Yes, prof.
When Anas does his investigation, Ghana in the eyes of God, judicial corruption. I've written an article on that. The title is "Stabbing the African State in the Back." Stabbing the African State in the back. Judicial corruption in Ghana. Now, in that work, where Anas presented a lady to a judge and offered to give the lady to the judge as part of the corruption transaction. He said, "Oh, judge, I have my niece who is a fresh lady, and I think, my lord, you may want to, fresh oil in your system. So I brought her. See her, she's very nice." See, so when we talk of corruption, it involves many other things that may corrupt the public officer to get either economic. Sometimes when he went to some judges, he would pay some money okay, as bribe, and then sometimes we uses some other non-economic friends to gauge. There are different forms of corruption, my dear friends. When we talk of corruption, note that there are various forms of corruption. Bribery, extortion, cronyism, patronage, influence peddling, state capture, graft, kleptocracy, embezzlement. All these are forms of corruption. When one is engaged in either of them, it is corruption. But scholars have attempted to discuss four broader types of corruption. So if I ask you to explain four broader types of corruption, I expect you to give me the dimension by SHA 2007. Bureaucratic corruption. Bureaucratic corruption. You see, bureaucratic corruption involves secluded transactions by public officials who misuse their authority to solicit bribes and kickbacks, pilfering, and the award of favors in return for individual gains. Bureaucratic corruption usually involves small amount of bribe money. Okay, I mean, what is involved is usually not significant. Sometimes we call it petty corruption. Okay, petty corruption in the office where you see them, the civil servant, or like
The call is no curfew.
sorry.
The call is no curfew. Something
Yes,
small.
no confuse, kakra kakra. If you see the matron take some sardine or some sugar, kakra kakra, or the security officer will take 5 cedis before they will allow you to enter. Okay, or the police officer will take something and then allow the person to go. Okay, petty. I mean, that's what petty corruption or bureaucratic corruption, right? Like pilfering, the person will take pens from the office, papers from the office. These are, trivial issues, okay, bureaucratic corruption. So there was a time one institution did a survey and their report indicated that the Ghana Police Service was the most corrupt agency in Ghana. That was what the people indicated, the people that were surveyed. And the police officer that was interviewed after the survey report has been out. This was a high-ranking officer, and he did not agree with the report. He did not agree with the report. And his argument, he also asked the journalist, now, if they say the police is the most corrupt, in what way are they saying that? I mean, why are they saying that? Are they saying that in terms of frequency or in terms of a quantum? What does that supposed to mean? What is it supposed to mean? Are they talking about the frequency of collection or the quantum of money? Yes.
Prof, I think both.
No, both. He will disagree. That's why he was asking.
But they do. When you are passing by, like most especially those that come to stand at the roadside.
But that one, the 5 cities, even if they add it together, how much is it? That's what he's trying to tell you. Is it the
Okay.
frequency, like, well, if you say the police, is it that for them all the time they are taking, so the number of times, or you are talking about the amount? If you want to talk about the amount of money stolen, would you say the police service, is more corrupt? Ah, he was trying to tell us something that, hey, no, you are all getting it wrong. Maybe even what the police officers all together will collect in a month may not even up to 1 million Ghana cedis. But what one politician, with just a single pen, single contract, you see, the money they will get can take them like 10 years. Okay, that was the point the police officer was trying to make. Are you saying if the police is corrupt? Are you saying that in terms of frequency? Okay, well, of course, maybe all the time you see them by the roadside. So, well, in terms of frequency, or in terms of a quantum and the amount involved, that one he wanted to. Here he would disagree, because that time they were taking 1 cedi, 5 cedis, local. I mean, but some institutions where an officer will sign a deal, and how much he gets from that deal, can take him 10 years and he might not even have to work. So, but when we talk of bureaucratic corruption, like the 1 cedi, 5 cedis that they are taking, well, that's bureaucratic corruption, but they are all not good. Okay. Now, the other form is grand corruption. This involves huge sums of monies, gargantuan amounts of resources, which are either mismanaged or stolen by public employees or politicians. That is grand corruption. So when you see people engage in grand scheme, a huge amount of money, that is grand corruption. The third one is state capture, sometimes called regulatory capture. Once a state reaches that level, then get to know that you are in slavery. That country is in slavery. If there is state capture or regulatory capture, then the state is in huge trouble. This is because, you see, owners of private entities are very powerful and rich. Mention any bigger organization in Ghana, and you get to know that they are very rich. So if it gets to a time that these guys, these rich people in society or companies, are able to compromise the state institutions, the institutions which are to enforce law and order, if private entities, private businesses are able to have maybe the police in their pockets, or the armed forces, the customs in their pockets, or EPA in their pockets, Forestry Commission in their pockets, then they can do anything within the territory. And nobody can stop them. Even if you are a citizen and you go and report to the police, because they have formed some kind of agreement or collaboration with them, nobody will even beat them. Okay? Nothing happens to them. Even if you want to report them, they do not fear, because they have bought their way or through the entire system. That is state capture. When that happens, that's what Obama was arguing. If you have a state where the rich can buy, they can buy the police. The rich who are into drugs, the drug traffickers, if they can buy the police and all the relevant state institutions, then it becomes a very dysfunctional system because it will not augur well for the economy. If people who bring goods and services into the country can buy the head of the port authority, then that is not good. That is state capture or regulatory capture. Then the people can do anything. They can bring any goods into the country and nobody can even stop them because they have bought the head of the port authority. If weed smokers and the likes can buy the head of what? Narcotic Controls Commission, NACOC, that is a doom for the state. Do you have any question for me? Now, corruption is one of the major barriers that affect economic growth in Africa. It behaves like sand. Corruption behaves like sand in the economic engine. It behaves more like sand than oil in the economic engine. Now, when you have car engine, what makes the engine run? What makes the car engine run and be effective all the time? Yes. Yes, so that periodically. Sorry.
Water.
Engine oil.
Who is saying water? Huh. Who is saying fuel? So you rightly mentioned
Engine oil.
the engine oil. Okay, that's why every 3 months or 6 months you hear the drivers say we are going to change our oil. We are going to change the engine oil. Now, let's say you decide to put sand in the car engine. What happens to it? Okay, now if you put sand in the engine, what happens to it?
You spoil the engine.
You are going to spoil the engine. But we are saying that corruption behaves more like sand than oil in the economic engine. What does it imply? Yes.
Corruption spoils the country.
Corruption what?
It destroys the country.
It destroys the country. Is detrimental to our economic growth and development. Yeah. Corruption worsens poverty and aggravates inequality. That is what corruption does. It worsens poverty and aggravates inequality. This is because sometimes the resources that we have budgeted to amount of money we have budgeted to go and maybe carry out some intervention to help the poor people, such as maybe the National Youth Employment.
Yes, and scholarships.
Scholarships, good. Scholarships. You see, the people who are rich in society, they end up giving these scholarships to their children.
True.
So that is why we are saying that corruption widens or aggravates inequality in society. All right, so that is There's a chart here. Let me see the chart. Yeah, so the definition by the World Bank and then what TI. No, so that is why the World Bank own is more of public sector corruption. Okay, so Clement, before I'm answering your question, see the World Bank is more of public sector corruption, whilst the Transparency International, that one is more open. It's more open when you check. The TI talks about entrusted power. Entrusted power can be from any other source. All right. Entrusted power can be any other form of power. The societal level, maybe a chief. Chief has entrusted power given by the subjects. We have family head entrusted power given by the family and the likes. This. Now, in a report given by the African Union mentions that corruption has stolen the futures in Africa. That is what the AU itself. What is the impact of corruption on society? I have a teaching and learning resource here, my dear friends. After going through, I want you to jot down some points on why we should be keen in addressing corruption. Why we should all come on deck to address corruption. Are you with me?
Oh. Yes, bro.
All right. I'm going to share the sound and then we start.
signed and given to the owners, but nothing was in place in case of fires. And the result was lots of people dead. That's a huge, huge cost. You can think about the Beirut blast, for instance.
Tell me what you gathered in terms of the social cost of corruption. Yes, share some with me.
Prof.
Yes, Jessica.
Yes,
After Jessica, then Prince David will come.
I heard that corruption is more than the bribe, the cash that we take, and all of us are victims of corruption. And also, corruption undermines the glue that holds society together, and it destroys the future of a country's economy, educational system, and everything. And also, corruption also destroys or distracts the forest and the wildlife that we have as a country. That's what I get it.
Right. Thank you very much. Prince David.
Yes, Prof.
After that, we have Stannis.
Okay, Prof. So, according to the video, I learned that corruption it's something that destroys society, and we should be mindful of that. As we quite observe that we are not just corruption is not just a victimless crime, because we are all victims of corruption. And then I also learned that corruption undermines the glue that holds society together, right? And then consequently, it reduces the trust in society. We can talk about government, we can talk about institutions. So basically, it destroys society in terms of the moral values that hold society together, and also it reduces trust in society or in the political institutions. That's what I learned from the video. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Stannis.
Hello, Prof.
Yes.
Please, I also heard that corruption destroys the relationships in society. It makes people not trust each other. And then corruption is the heart of failures in societies.
Fantastic. Good. Dede, last one. Then we proceed.
Prof, please, I also heard that the cost of corruption cannot be measured in figures. It is more than that, and it every environmental crime is a corruption. The deforestation, illegal fishing, yeah, everything.
Okay, right. Now, when you read or when you analyze the corruption perception index, it paints a mixed picture for Africa. Some countries show progress, others are also struggling. Yes, others are also struggling. Mhm. It shows that some countries are doing well and others are struggling. Most African states, including Ghana, experience stagnation. They are not improving. Okay. And as comparativist, I gave you assignment on political culture. I hope you are done with it. Because comparativist, you see, today we are learning corruption. I can give you another questions on corruption. You go and compare the corruption perception index of different countries. I can make you do cross-time analysis as well as cross-national analysis of 5 different countries. Compare their corruption perception index, maybe from 2015 to 20, maybe from 2020 to 2025. So it will be cross-time and then cross-national. Hello, are you there, comparativist? My
Yes,
dear
bro.
comparativist. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
You are comparativist, so we are comparing which countries have been more corrupt, well, in the sight of the people, in the eyes of the people, So, but we will talk more about the corruption perception index. Now, notably, about 90% of sub-Saharan African countries scored below 50. And you see, we will talk more about the corruption perception index. The higher your score, the better it is for you. Yes, the higher your score, the better it is for you. So on a scale of 0 to 100, if you get 100, that is better. So it means if you score more marks, just like exam, or let's take it to be like the democracy index on the scale of 0 to 10. The higher your score, the better it is for you. So we will be looking at the corruption perception index. And then at least comparativists, you know how to interpret. The higher your score, the better it is. Are you with me? Great.
Yes, bro.
And we are saying that over 90% of sub-Saharan African countries scored below 50. That is not good. So, my dear friends, let's look at the legends. Watch this video. We see the legends, the top 10 most corrupt African countries. Okay.
Africa is among the continents with abundant natural resources. Despite being blessed with vast reserves of oil, minerals, and fertile land, Africa finds itself shackled by the chains of corruption, hindering development and leaving its people to suffer in the shadows of corrupt leaders. These are the top 10 most corrupt countries in Africa. Number 10. Eritrea. Corruption Perception Index, 22. Corruption in Eritrea is considered a deeply serious and growing problem. The level of corruption used to be considerably lower in Eritrea than in many other African countries. However, corruption is said to have been growing steadily worse ever since 1998, not long after the end of its decades-long war of independence. Number 9. Burundi. Corruption Perception Index, 21. Corruption in Burundi is systemic. Despite the establishment of anti-corruption agencies, Burundi is facing a deepening corruption crisis that threatens to jeopardize development and economic growth bolstered by the state and driven by foreign investment. Number 8. Chad. Corruption Perception Index, 20. Corruption in the public services of Chad is characterized by nepotism and bribery. Bribery is common in public services due to the low salaries of civil servants. Public works conducted by the government have been criticized by international organizations for lacking transparency and involving high levels of corruption. Number 7. Comoros. Corruption Perception Index, 20. Corruption in the Comoros follows the familiar patterns of state-based corruption. Mainly government officials abusing their political powers for private gain in the country of Comoros. Number 6. Democratic Republic of Congo. Corruption Perception Index, 20. Corruption in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which used to be an institutionalized part of the state, has been relatively lowered in recent years. However, it continues to exceed corruption in comparison to most states. This is clear from high poverty rates in the country despite the abundancy of natural resources. Number 5. Sudan. Corruption Perception Index, 19. Corruption in Sudan is substantial, as it is considered one of the most corrupt nations in the world. Sectors where foreign investments are concentrated, such as construction and transportation, are recognized as being very prone to corruption. Corruption exists in every sector of the economy and at every level of the Sudanese government. Number 4. Libya. Corruption Perception Index, 18. Libya has been struggling with corruption even in the post-Gaddafi Libyan society. Libya has a rapid ongoing surge in corruption, looting, and organized crime perpetrated by Libya's current rulers, which threatens the survival of the country's essential institutions, including the nation's vital oil sector. Number 3. Equatorial Guinea. Corruption Perception Index, 17. Political corruption in Equatorial Guinea is high by world standards and considered among the worst of any country on earth. It has been described as an almost perfect kleptocracy, in which the scale of systemic corruption and the ruler's indifference towards the people's welfare place it at the bottom of every major governance indicator or ranking. Number 2. South Sudan. Corruption Perception Index, 13. Corruption in South Sudan is among the worst in the world. The nation's elites have developed a kleptocratic system that controls every part of the South Sudanese economy. This system has taken shape quickly in a relatively short period, South Sudan having won self-rule in 2005 while remaining part of Sudan, and having been accorded full sovereignty in 2011. The nation has lacked proper regulations to combat fraud and malfeasance among senior government officials. Number 1. Somalia. Corruption Perception Index, 11. Corruption in Somalia pertains to purported levels of corruption within Somalia's public and private sectors. Somalia has struggled to re-establish a functioning state since the collapse of an authoritarian regime in 1991. By 2016, it had established 5 federal member states, though these semi-autonomous regions are often at odds with the central government. The government's territorial control is also contested by a separatist government in Somaliland and by the Shabab, an Islamist militant group. That was our list for top 10 most corrupt countries in Africa. If you found this video informative, like, share, subscribe and hit the notification button.
All right. So tell me what you gathered from the clip. Share your thoughts on the clip. Mention 3 most corrupt countries in Africa. Yes.
Sudan.
Which of the Sudan?
Not the South one, but the Sudan itself.
Okay, all right. Simon.
Dog Somalia.
Somalia, okay. Right. Stanis.
Burundi.
Burundi, okay. Great. Great. So you see that on a scale of 0 to 100, some scored as low as 13%. And that is not good at all. Yeah. Lamte, you want Ghana to be part? Oh, Ghana. So now let's talk more about the CPI so that I can give you assignments. The CPI, the Corruption Perception Index, is an index that ranks countries by their perceived, so it's a perception, by the perceived levels of public sector corruption as determined by expert assessments and opinion surveys. So the Transparency International is the organization that conducts the survey and also that brings out the reports on a yearly basis. They have a chapter in Ghana called the Transparency International Ghana chapter. And I believe they have chapters in different countries who help in the survey and the expert opinion and submit the country reports, okay, to the center. The CPI generally defines corruption as an abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Okay, so that's the Transparency International. Their definition: abuse of entrusted power for private gain. It could be any entrusted power. The index is published yearly by the NGO Transparency International since 1995. Well, the 2023 CPI report was published in 2024, January, currently ranks 180 countries. Of course, this is an old one. The latest reports I'm going to share with you. So we make justice, okay? It. As comparativists, we always make use of data. Now, this is the latest report, the 2025 report, which released earlier part of 2026. But yes, this is the report. I'm going to share with you comparativists. This is the 2026 Transparency International. Okay. Hello, are you there? So this is the latest CPI 2025, which was released in 2026. And so this year, how many countries? How many countries?
182.
182. And what's your question? How does your country measure up?
We measure up, yeah.
Yes, so that's what I'm going to ask you. Now, look at the scores. Denmark scored 89. Finland scored 88. Singapore, 84. So, if I ask which country is the least corrupt globally per the CPI report, which country is the least corrupt? Yes.
India.
Simon, take your time. Which country is the least corrupt?
Denmark.
Denmark. Do you agree?
Wow.
Yes, the higher your score, it means, you are clean, okay? The higher your score, the cleaner you are. So if Denmark had 89% on the scale of 100, it means they are the least corrupt. Doesn't mean they are not corrupt. The corruption is not significant, okay? They are least corrupt, 89%. Followed by which country?
Finland.
Finland, 88%. And then in that order. All right, now can you see Ghana? Ghana is here. Do you see my cursor?
Yes, bro.
Yes, you can see Ghana.
Ghana is 43.
43, what does it mean?
It means that we are corrupt, but not most.
All right. So what I'm going to request of you, hello, dear friends, are you there? You are going to do a cross-time analysis of Ghana's CPI, maybe from 2020 to 2025. And then you will tell me whether we are doing well or not. No, 2020, no. Maybe I'll take 4 years of one party, 4 years of another party. So then it will be, cross time. Then I ask you some questions. But it's going to be cross time and then cross national analysis as well. So that is the CPI. We have the executive summary. You see, the global average was 42 out of 100, and that is too bad. Because this year, even if the most decent country had 89, it means it's not good. It's not all that good. The most decent did not even cross 90%. Okay, so that is the CPI, and I'll share the report with you. It has a lot of, information that you will require once I ask you. It's just 28 pages, okay? It's a 28-page report. I'm going to give you assignment as comparativist. You compare and then tell me, maybe I ask 5 countries, then you tell me which of them the report has been doing well, in terms of corruption control. The data should speak for itself, okay? Whether Ghana has been doing well or, it has been deteriorating in terms of its corruption control effort. Are we together?
No.
Oh, why? Alice, you should be fine, okay? Great. So that is the latest report which I'm going to share with you, my dear friends. I'm going to give you assignment. I'll give you assignment. Go and work so that you be good comparativist. You become great comparativist. Yes.
And please about the assignment, the next one. Could you please upload it next week? But we will finish with the first one by then.
Why? If I upload it today, it will be scaring you or otherwise
Yes,
I'll forget.
bro.
Yes.
If I don't upload, that means I may forget. So I have to do it.
Please, I'll remind
We will remember you.
You remind me.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc. We haven't finished what you've given us.
Prof,
Yes,
please
we need
upload
to.
the assignment today, Prof.
Hey, Quacks, why?
And Prof, please, the submission date. I think sometimes it's we need some time for
Because every
submission.
week I'll be giving you. That's why it should. Hey, Aaron, why you do that? Okay, now listen to this clip on the CPI so that it will help you in the assignments. What the corruption perception index means.
The Corruption Perceptions Index, also known as the CPI, scores and ranks countries around the world based on how corrupt their public sector is perceived to be. The scores reflect the views of experts or surveys of business people, not the general public. We calculate the CPI using data from 13 different external sources. Transparency International is not involved in the production of any of these 13 datasets. The CPI includes data produced by the World Bank and the World Economic Forum, as well as by private risk and consulting companies and think tanks. Each of the 13 sources rates countries using its own scale. One source rates countries on a scale of 1 to 7, for instance, while another uses a scale of 1 to 100. As a result, direct comparison of country scores between different sources is not possible. Therefore, we transform each score from the original scale into standardized values that show the position of each country relative to others. By doing this, we are able to compare country scores across the 13 different data sources. After standardizing all scores, we then convert them into a scale from 0 to 100, which we use for the CPI. Next, we simply calculate the average of the transformed scores for each country. The average score is the CPI value for each country. In order to ensure reliability of the results, only countries with data from at least 3 sources are included in the CPI. The CPI results are comparable across time back to 2012. This is because when we convert the original data to the CPI scale, we take into account the 2012 parameters, which turns 2012 into the baseline year. Annual CPI results from before 2012 cannot be compared to other years. The 13 different data sources used to calculate the CPI all measure various aspects of corruption in the public sector. This ranges from bribery, the diversion of public funds, and the effective prosecution of corruption cases, to adequate legal frameworks, access to information, and legal protections for whistleblowers, journalists, and investigators. The CPI does not measure activities such as tax fraud, money laundering, financial secrecy, or illicit flows of money. Corruption generally involves illegal activities which are deliberately hidden and only come to light through scandals, investigations, or prosecutions. Researchers, civil society, and governments have made advances in measuring corruption in specific sectors. However, to date, there is no index which directly measures real levels of corruption in all its manifestations. The data sources that make up the CPI ask business executives.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the CPI, okay, for you. Any question on that? Yes. Any question? Now, the IMF reports that Sub-Saharan Africa will benefit more economically from mitigating corruption than any other region. What the IMF is saying that if Africa is able to address its corruption, Africa is going to benefit more economically than any other region. What it means is that it is corruption that is derailing our growth as a people. It is corruption that is inhibiting our growth, such that if we are able to address it, we are going to benefit more than any other region. Now, with improved governance, there could be an increased GDP per capita of about 1 to 2% every year, which means if we should cut the waste in the corruption, we are going to increase our fortunes as a people. Okay. I've already mentioned that over 90% of our countries in Sub-Saharan Africa scored below 50%. Many governments engage in what we call kleptocracy, a form of government in which people primarily seek their personal gain at the expense of those they govern. That's kleptocracy. Simply means what? Thieves. Government by thieves. All right. The process of uprooting kleptocracy, sometimes called dekleptification, is a major project for anti-corruption advocates. What processes, what mechanisms can be put in place to uproot or to reduce the tendency for kleptocracy, where governments or people in government have an agenda to create, loot, and share, or to steal from the state? Kleptocracy. ruled by thieves, or when power is given to thieves, people who pilfer state resources or to misapply state resources. Now, the quest to address corruption, how do we address corruption? Now, it is agreed that corruption is not good because it is what distracts our growth, destroys our growth, and then inhibits our social advance and socio-economic advance. How do we then address corruption? There's a popular cliche that Africa doesn't need strong men, but strong institutions. Do you agree? Hello, do you agree? Africa,
Prof.
Prince, yes.
Yes, Prof, I agree.
That
We need strong institutions. We don't need strong men.
okay. Any other view?
Yes, Prof. We need strong institution because from all that we've read from the slides tells us that most often corruption is caused by weak institutions, whereby people taking like no kofio and those kind of things and making the economy very difficult for the non-privileged to be in.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. Well, I have a contrary opinion. I disagree. And I'll show you why I disagree. Yes, Prince, I disagree. And I'll show you how I disagree. And many people also side with me that we need strong men also, in as much as we need strong institutions. So when Obama came to Ghana, he said Africa does not need strong men, but strong institutions. And well, I argue that we need strong men as well as strong institutions. And even one other thing, we don't need only strong institutions. We need what? We need both plus a third one. And I'm going to show you my framework for addressing corruption, which is called the corruption control tripod. Okay, it's a tripod standing on 3 legs. Standing on what? 3 different legs. Now, this is how we analyze corruption in our work. We analyze corruption by deducing from the literature. See, reading the literature, you will see that corruption is an economic transaction. Corruption is a game. You know how game is played. Football is a game, right? How is it played? Before they play, each coach will have their tactical play, their strategy, whether 4-4-2 or whichever strategy you know of. It's a game. You don't just enter. It's a game. You need to weigh your opponent, their weaknesses, whether they are coming with Messi. Okay, Messi, how many of your defenders are going to take just Messi? It's a game. So corruption is a game, and so you need to go with strategy. It's a process. It depends on the context, and it involves actors. This will review the literature, and we saw this. That is why, Jessica, when we were defining corruption, we didn't simply go by the abuse of public office. No. Because we reviewed the literature and realized that it's an economic transaction. It's a game. It's a process. That's why we said it is a well-calculated transactional process. We got our definition after reviewing different literature. So here, Yeboah-Assiamah et al. 2014, we defined corruption as a well-calculated transactional process involving the exploitation of public authority for personal or sectional advancement at the expense of the larger society. That the beneficiaries of corruption may be individuals or groups Sometimes it's not one person, but it's a group. You need to sort them out, or you sort one person, he sorts the others out. That corruption may boost a person's or the group's economic interest or their economic status. All right. Now, because of this, because it is well-calculated transaction, if you tell me that we don't need strong men, but just strong institutions cannot work. Who enforces the law? Who implements the institutions?
The men.
The men and the women. So if they are not strong in terms of mind and character, the institutions will be there, and then people will be doing their well-calculated transaction at the blind side of the laws or the institutions. Okay. We've talked about these forms of corruption. Yeah. But this is a model developed by Yeboah-Assiamah and my lawyer friend, Alesu Doji, okay? The calculus of corruption. So we argue that corruption doesn't just occur, it's not accidental. It is calculus in nature. The actors, they well calculate. Hey, this one cry, if I go, will he collect or will he not collect? Hey, will he receive it or will he not receive me? Hey, will she be interested or will not? I mean, so it's well calculated. But we have the supply side or the demand side. The supply side is the giver. We call the person corrupter, the one who is, let's say, the private person, the citizen. The citizen maybe who wants preferential treatment. The citizen who will get F, they say, well, I am going to the public officer. Say, hey, the public officer, is he going to listen or? And so then say, oh, say I got F. Yes, you got F. Can anything be done? No, nothing can be done. Is there anything I can do? No, there's nothing you can do. But that is the private person, the supply side or the giver. That's the corrupter. Friends, that is the corrupter. They want preferential treatment. And then the public officer is usually at the demand side. They are the ones that receive. We call them corruptee. This is a framework we developed. Me, Yeboah-Assiamah, and my lawyer friend, we developed it. This is the public officer. So we said that sometimes the supplier may be the first to supply. Sometimes the public officer will be the first to demand. Okay, either of them can be the first to initiate. But before any of them will do the first, initiation, whether to initiate or not, they weigh these variables, the context. Hey, this person cry when I went, the way one moon and him cry, no. The guy is even talking about, he's not even looking at my face, he's not even laughing. So the context is not right. Even if you have any intention, then, So the context, you weigh the context. But when you went, oh, the guy cry, he's okay, well, he's opening up. And so the context, the content, see, sometimes the content, each of the actors will weigh the content. How much is involved? Oh, say, and then, okay, I brought 200 cities, so, well, but that one cry. But let's say a police officer is handling a case, then you say, oh, officer, well, $1 million. Hey, what did you say? $1 million. So that, but each actor will weigh this, the context, the content. The content. Very, you see, so there are some gestures that the person, if they had no intention, hey, this one there, and sometimes with the process, the processes involved, the actors. Is it a person that is familiar? Or this one there, you have not met you anywhere. You come now, you are bringing. No, this guy can be an ass. This is an anas person. Anas sent this person. And so if the actor is not a familiar person, an option in him this is a setup. This is a BBC setup. Huh? This is a BBC. So once you check the actors, and sometimes too, then the different, the supply and the demand side, they weigh the systems. Hey, but are there systems to check? Do we have mechanisms or even the institutions, our structures in the organization? Do we even have CCTV, at the place that are people? So they will check the systems in place. So, my dear friends, I'm saying that before these two actors engage, they weigh all this. That is why we argue that it is a well-calculated. Jessica, you don't understand why we said it's well-calculated.
Yes,
deflation
bro.
did not come in vain. It's well calculated. They calculate the context.
Yeah, very intentional process.
Check, very good. They check the content. The content we cry. They say, if I take and they even sack me, this one cry, I can go and set up a company. The content, the processes, the actors and the systems, the probability of being caught or not in systems. Sometimes to be safer, they may use an intermediary, someone to facilitate. Because, if they don't know each other, I call you crab in the corner one year, so then they may use what? A facilitator or intermediary, okay? Who will broker the deal between the supplier and then the officer. At the end of the day, if it goes through, the private person gets preferential treatment. If it is something they want, they get it. And then the public officer also gains some favor in terms of whether economic value or non-economic value. Like the one Anas did to the judge. What was that? Yes. So, but I mentioned it. I will let you read that article. I have written.
Prof, is it a fine oil, the fresh oil?
Yes, the fresh oil. Say that one, the judge got pecuniary gains as well as non-pecuniary. Where Anas present, he went and took with one Ashawo lady, hookup girl, and say, "Oh, judge, I brought my niece. This one nice, fresh oil to massage my lord, after hard day's work." Okay, but at the end of the day, the public officer gains economic or non-economic gains. But the sad aspect is that there's net social loss. Who loses? The state. Society loses. That is here. The net social loss. Poor service delivery. Maybe you have a contractor who is supposed to use the money to go and make the road. Because of corruption and kickback, by the time they are done with their transaction, the Sikano over 40% is gone. He has to use only 60% to make the road. So there will be shoddy road. If it is a bridge, if the bridge collapses and then people die, fatalities, okay? Fatalities and people die. If it's a bridge that will collapse, then people are dying. If it is a Melcom and then Melcom will collapse and people are dying, money and a whole lot of disaster, shoddy works, crime. The article you are going to read, you see that someone who is accused of, rape, and now was able to do some transactions to get the person out. Okay. So if a person who is standing trial for rape and other crimes because money and other, fresh oil changed hands, the person is now out. What do you think will happen to this, criminal who did not face the sentence? Let's say, one was an armed robber. They were able to get the person who was standing trial out, freed him. What do you think will happen to this person when it comes to society? What will happen? Armed robber, he's told he was standing trial through corruption, he's out. What do you think will happen to this armed robber with regards to his armed robbery business? Yes. What will happen? Ladies and gentlemen, are you there?
Yes, please.
Yes.
What will he do? Will he stop his robbery or what? Because he's been freed.
No, Prof.
He will increase the robbery.
He will what?
The robbery will increase.
He will increase to get more money and to pay more. That's what it means. You have to what? Expand his business so that if he's caught, once he knows that there's a way, there's a payout way, then you know. So this is the article I said I'm going to let you read. Corruption in public administration, stabbing the African state in the back. Okay, by Yeboah-Assiamah et al. You are going to read that and you see how this framework, okay, was put to use. We use data from ANA's investigative work, where we, did a lot of analysis and synthesis. Okay. There are various ways to address corruption. Some people say, oh, we need, now Kim addresses 4 ways, legal, administrative. Okay. They say that we need to put in place laws, institutions, structures, administrative procedures, okay, to address corruption. That is what Obama says we need, or strong institutions. That is the legal, administrative mechanism. But we punch holes in this framework. I mean, when you have people who are hungry, hungry people, selfish people, unethical people, if they come together, they have a way to act, even if there are administrative or structures or there are rules. You don't know, people who are hungry and selfish, unethical actors, oh, they can act at the blind side of the law. That's why we see corruption is calculus in nature, very transactional, and then, institutions or laws alone cannot. People have a way of acting at the blind side of the law. That's why one judge would say that this thing, it is what? Create, loot, and share. People can easily create something. They will loot and then go backstage and share. You would think it was a mistake. No, well calculated, scheme, where public officers and some individuals who will sit down and scheme something at the blind side of the law. Some also said that, well, we should address corruption from the behavior cultural approach. Oh, if that is the case, then we need to work on the mindset of people. We need to get ethical people who are moral in nature. Okay, yeah, let's address people's behavior. Let us teach them ethics. So you see, from next year, hey, well, that one we've not done the videos. So we are supposed to make videos so that next year in the humanities, they are going to read a compulsory course on ethics, morality, and citizenship. It's a core. It will be heck course for the humanities, because we need to train people who are ethical, moral, who have good behavior, so that the state will develop. We don't want more corrupt people. But that one too, we critique that. Some people are naturally born bad. It doesn't, even if you put them in Pope's house, they are still born bad. Nothing will change them. If
Yes,
you put them in the pocket of the pastor or the imam, they will still not be good. Okay, they are naturally climbers, conservers, which as the good emeritus professor will say, demons. Okay, they are demons. No matter what, they are interested in they have self-interest. And so no matter what you teach them to be ethical, to make ethical decisions, they will not. Okay? And so the behavior cultural is good, but it will not work on everyone. Some also say that, well, people are corrupt because they are hungry, because they are not paid well. Do you agree? People are hungry, people are corrupt because the pay is not good. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
You say yes. But is it not a paradox that mostly the rich in society appear more corrupt? Don't you think so? The rich in
Yes,
society
Prof.
appear more culpable when it comes to what? Corruption. Someone who is richer will give you money to go and train people who are jobless, okay, like the NYEP and the rest. They give the money to someone who is an accomplished business person to go and train what? Unemployed youth. And then this rich person will end up eating the poor people's money in addition to what he has already. And you are telling me that, it is the poor who, no. So it is a paradox that usually the rich in society appear more culpable. If you give them money to go and improve the well-being of the poor people, they end up eating the money. If you give them money to go and construct road for the poor people, they end up not doing the road. They spend the money. Then the poor people are further impoverished. Their life is in tatters. While the rich person staying at East Legon will spend their money. So there was a time we mentioned that, well, the police, because their pay is not good, so they are taking one city. So let's improve their payout. So with a single span pay policy, they got more than double what they were taking. But the question people will ask is, has it changed their modus operandi? Has it made them better?
No.
So it means that the economic approach does not always work. Money and its intricacies. Some philosophers say that money is sticky. Hello, are you there?
Yes, Prof.
Money is sticky. It's like chewing gum. If you touch it, it sticks your hand. It is sticky. Money is sticky. The last for it. It means when you are poor, then you want it. Let me start from the lack of it. If you don't have money, the lack of it, the last for it, and the fear of losing it brings out the worst in human beings. That is money. It is sticky. Doesn't matter whether you are poor or you are rich. That's why I mentioned that the actors, they weigh the content. Hey, Charlie, this amount the person is talking about there is something that you can't easily resist. Money is sticky. The lack of it, that means you are poor, you don't have it. Then you'll be attracted to it. The lust for it, you can be rich, but you are still lasting for it. And then the fear of losing it. Hey, if I don't do this deal, I'm losing $1 million. Now, so in all this, it means that the economic approach cannot work all the time. Some also say that, well, then in that case, we need a technological approach. Let's use ICT and technology, digitalization, so that we are able to reduce the human-to-human contact. But who operates the machines? Is it not human beings? So
yes, it's man.
Yeah. Go passport office, they try to digitalize the process, but you still have the human elements. When they ask you to come for appointment, you go there and then you still meet the humans. Go DVLA, they've done technological advancement, digitalization, yet you still have the human elements. So each of these approaches still have their weaknesses. We punch holes in all of them. Even where an organization is tempted to adopt all these four, there still appears a vacuum or a missing link, especially where the third sector appears silent in the discussion above. Now, here, Ghana has made several efforts to address corruption. We have passed many laws, so the legal, administrative, we've passed many laws. That's why I wrote this article with my lawyer friend. Alesu Doji. I asked him to chronicle the various laws in Ghana to address corruption. So he chronicled these different laws, okay, and what the laws sought to do. So we have different laws. Office of the Auditor General, we have for Shraj, Special Prosecutor, recent one, Iyoko is there. The Parliamentary Accounts Committee of Parliament, Commissions of Inquiry, a number of what? Laws. Criminal Offences Act, which criminalizes corruption, Public Procurement Act, whistleblowers, all these laws are there. Yet, do we see any difference? You were the ones who checked the corruption perception index. It's 43. It means that if Obama says we need strong institutions, the institutions alone cannot help, my dear friends. We will end up piling more institutions, more laws, yet the laws are sitting there. Then the people are acting at the blind side of the law. This is Ghana's performance over the years. From 2008, you see Ghana's performance is usually around the 40s. You see, this year, what was the score? 2025, what was Ghana's score? What was Ghana's score? When we check from the data, the one we went through together, what was Ghana's score?
43.
Around 43. Ghana has usually been around 43, 41, thereabout. So we did this in our work. We chronicled from 2008 to 2020 to realize that there has not been any appreciable impact. And that is the task you are also going to do. You are also comparativists. I am the chief comparativist, and you are also disciple comparativist. You are also going to do same. Well, we are in 2025, so you will not do up to 2020. You will do maybe from, let's say, 2020 to 2025. Use a line graph like this. Nice one. You see, dear comparativist. But you are also going to do, cross-national and then cross-time, so that we see whether states are doing well. Well, of course, Ghana stagnates. You see, well, this was last year, last 2 years, Ghana scored 43. And this year alone, this year is also 43. So, well, this caption will still hold for Ghana because we still had 43. It hasn't changed. It means that Ghana stagnates on CPI. Ghana scores 43 for the 5th time or even the 6th time. Right? The caption will not change. The same thing. Okay, so this is the cross-time analysis, which you are also going to do. Okay. Well, you are going to do cross. You see, Ghana used to do well from 2016-17, and then the thing has been falling. And you know that this year also is 43. So you continue with the line graph. That is your task, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is what you are going to do. The CPI score for Ghana, maybe from 2020 to 2025. The chief comparativist has done for you from 2020 to 2023. Maybe your task is to fetch for the 2024 data and then the latest data and then do it. But I'm going to add some 2 or 3 countries so that we can compare Ghana and other states, which ones are doing well with their corruption score. Okay. Yes, this was the 2023 report. Of course. So this year you are going to use the 2025 report to do your synthesis, my dear friends. Okay. Ghanaians were asked which institutions were more corrupt, and then people answered this way. They argued that the police, they argued that these ones were more corrupt. Oh, please. They argued that these ones were more corrupt. You see, which of these institutions is more corrupt? Well, you see the yellow says some, and then the one which is it black or what? Say what, most or all. So the police came first. 65% of the people said, well, most or all of them are corrupt. And 31% said some of them are corrupt. Now, when you put the two together, 65 and 31, what do you get? What do you get? Something like 96. Right? So you see, people have some kind of perception about these institutions. But this is Afrobarometer data. They interviewed people, or no, they gave questionnaire to people, and this was the response given by people. This is something also about trust, people's trust. You know, last week we did trust in political institutions. So this is my framework. Ladies and gentlemen, my framework. Jessica, read the title of the article.
Public Organization Review.
No, this is the title. Strong.
Okay, strong personalities and strong institutions.
Mediated
by a strong third force. Thinking systems in corruption control. Yeboah-Assiamah.
That's the chief comparativist, right? So this is my framework, which is published in the Public Organization Review 2017. And this work has been used sometimes when I check the course outline of many graduate programs, especially where they teach ethics, public administration and governance. I see it on course outlines, okay? Because we give a systems approach to addressing public sector corruption. If we are to take, just one approach, you can punch holes in them. So what I did was to blend them. That's why I said thinking systems. We should look at it in a way of a systems approach. We don't just have to say you need strong institutions and not strong men. No, then you are thinking in a more reductionist approach. Okay, it's a more reductionist approach. We need systems. How the individual parts will come together to help address the phenomenon. So this is the systems thinking. I argue here that if we have strong personalities, okay, originally the title was strong men. The title was supposed to be strong men and strong institutions. But the editor said that no, you have to be gender neutral. If you say strong men, then make it strong men and women, okay? I said, but the title will be too long. If I say strong men and women and strong institutions, that no crowd will be too much. And strong men and women and then strong institutions. So, okay, in that case, I'll make it strong personalities. Personalities will cater for both men and women. Okay, I wanted to make it a direct counter to Obama's statement on strong men and strong institutions. But they said, well, make it strong men and women. That will make the title not read well. Okay. But if you have strong personalities, simply this means what strong men and women who are strong. They are strong not in terms of their muscles, so like Ghana's strongest. No, when I say strong men and women, I don't mean what Ghana's strongest. But public officers who are strong in terms of paying attention to their integrity, their ethos, their ethics, okay? These are the strong personalities we talk about. That no matter what, if you come and say, sir, can anything be done? And then you say, oh, well, nothing can be done, okay? Once we say nothing can be done, you say, well, is there anything I can do? No, there's nothing you can do. The thing you can do is to re-register. Oh, strong personality. Jessica, what did you say?
Won't you take no coffee?
No. That's why we need the strong personalities. So paying attention to what integrity and what ethics. That is what strong personalities. Now we also have the strong what systems here. That's the strong institutions that Obama was talking about. Strong systems, rules, procedures, leadership ethos, and that, right? Now, so you have the strong personalities who are the public officers. You have the strong systems also there. Now, I argue that you also need another what we call the strong third force. The strong third force will serve as the compelling force that will pull the personalities and the institutions. Otherwise, you have people working, you have the law. Sometimes the laws are there. The people, the officers will even pretend that they don't even know the law. Then they are doing their own thing. We need to have a strong third force, like the media, opposition parties, the clergy, civil society, students' unions, trade unions, okay, that will force government to do the right thing. It is this third force that compels government at all times to do the right thing. They pull the public officers and the institutions to the equilibrium. You remember that Galamsey was high on the agenda. People were engaged in Galamsey. Well, the laws are there. The public officers are there. EPA is there. Minerals Commission is there. The ministry is there. Well, as if nothing is happening. So you see the personalities are there. The institutions are also there. Each one is sitting apart. Now to take the third force to start launching a campaign, media campaign against illegal mining. Before you saw the government and the ministry also coming on board, right? Also coming, oh, okay, well, yeah, But had it not been the third force bringing the thing on the agenda, well, the laws are there, the people are also there, nothing seems to be happening. Sometimes it will take people like Manasseh Azuri, right, to report on a scandal before you see the state institutions now coming, doing some arrests and what have you. But for the third force, the laws are there. The people in charge are also there. Nothing seems to be happening. So I argue that we need a strong third force, my dear friends. Jessica, read the title again.
Strong personalities and strong institutions mediated by a strong third force.
Fantastic.
Thinking systems in corruption control.
Whether the institutions will be worked on or whether the laws will be applied by the public officers, you need a strong third force that will mount pressure on these institutions. Otherwise, they pretend to be working. Once they see everybody's quiet, everybody's sleeping, well, they're also sleeping on their job. The people demonstrate anger. Hey, we are watching, eyes are watching. Then they are working. They are working. Okay, my dear friends, this is the corruption control tripod. So we have at the individual level, we argue that we need people, the strong personalities, people who have a personal ethics. They have a conviction. This is the right thing to do. We need to allow the laws to go. People that are champions of change. People who are whistleblowers. They see something, they say something, okay? They won't sit and, condone or connive for evil to thrive. Whistleblowers, they'll blow the alarm. Hey, something is happening here. So, this is what I call the strong personalities. Men and women, strong mind. Not strong in terms of their muscles or they can beat people. No, strong in terms of our character. Now, at the organizational level, this is where we have the strong institutions. The organization must do integrity tests before they recruit, do integrity tests. You need to invest in ethics training. You need to organize training for your workers. Some people engage in one action or the other because maybe they are not aware, but we take them through ethics training. There are some people doing their masters in, masters in executive masters in regulation. This weekend I met them. Their course is this is one of the courses ethics in regulation. So we did introduction to ethics. This week I'll take them through theories of ethics. Now, by the time they are done, they've gone through the theories of what? Regulation, what to do and what not to do, how to make ethical decisions. Organizations must invest in ethics training so that you have people that are ethical. They know how to make ethical decisions at any point in time. Organizations must invest in meritocratic recruitment. Don't recruit people based on familiarity or somewhat kind of a consideration, okay? But there should be what? Meritocracy. Is a person qualified? Do they have the knowledge, the skills, ability? Then you know that you are having a workforce that is very what? Sensitive to ethics. That is very what? Effective, okay? Don't say you can recruit anybody, whether the person, you know the person doesn't have a good character. The person is well known as what? A petty thief. And then you recruit them into the police service or the security services, and you expect them to be good. No. You recruited based on other what kind of consideration, but not merit. Okay? So scholars have argued that if you don't have the right person on the job, there is nothing that can save you. You can do everything, but the guy is naturally what? Born bad. When he was in school, everybody knows he was a thief. In the society, he's a thief. And you recruit this person into the security officer, you give the person a gun, and you expect them to be good. You need to invest also in systems. Okay, that is strong organizations or strong institutions. Now, even if you have people who are naturally good, they are strong in terms of character, and in the next 2 minutes. Yeah. Even if you have good people, you have strong institutions, they do not automatically what? Do good. No, sometimes they need a compelling force, a force that will compel them to act. And that is what I call the third force, a strong civil society. If you have that strong civil society, they compel people to work. Look at how civil society has mounted pressure on the executive or parliament with this what LGBTQ thing, right? Hey, this is something society does not want. You see the clergy, traditional society meeting, cabinet meeting, MPs, that hey, this one, there's no way we are going to condone. And so that is the compelling for strong civil society. So my dear friends, that is the corruption control tripod. We talk about strong personalities. This requires public officials to develop their personal ethics. Before they make any decision, they need to check whether it is constitutional, whether the law permits. They need to check whether it is ethical. They need to check whether it is effective. So that if we bring any professional, they will say that, oh, what you did in that circumstance was the best thing to do. People who pay attention to their integrity levels. We need also strong institutions, which requires individual public organizations to design systems and procedures to promote ethical conduct and integrity. Above these two, we also need what? Strong third force, an active civil society, media, think tanks, opposition parties, pressure groups, NGOs, traditional authority, student groups, and all this that compels public officials to churn out virtues. Even if you are not good, even if you are a bad person, the pressure on you will make you do good. As countryman Songo will always say. What does he say? Songo. What does he say always? My dear friends, what does countryman Songo always say? Yes, are you there? Hello. Who are the sports people? Nobody likes sports. You don't know countryman Songo?
Doc, yes.
What does he say?
Fire penny wo. Ujan shimuina.
Also, so Jano Shiwa Beba, So Jano Shiwa Beba, once we mount the pressure on you, even if you don't want to do the right thing, the fire will burn you to come and do the right thing. Nobody will tell you, but once you yourself, you feel the fire, you will do the right thing. Okay? So that is the role of the third force. It serves as the compelling force to make public officials do the right thing at the right time. My dear friends, any question, comment before we bring today's session to an end? All right, great. Any question before we end today's session? Okay, in the absence of any question, comment, my dear friends, I'll bring today's session to an end. Let me hear all those who agree. Let me hear you do yeah.
Now.
Those who disagree, let me hear you do no.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, so the ayes have it. We meet next week, but I'm going to prepare your assignment and I'll put it on Sakai. But you said I should wait, So who will remind me? Who's going to remind me?
That's me, sir.
We do.
Okay.
We would
Jessica.
Okay, Jessica, they say you are going to do it. So you remind me.
All right, Chief Conference.
Fantastic. All right. So enjoy the rest of your week and of course your weekend. See you next week, and then God be with you all. Bye-bye.